Hello, my dears. It has been a really long time since I have done a Shakti Temple talk. I am admittedly spending most of my energy on Instagram, and I don't have a lot of space for multiple social media platforms, but I appreciate you too. And so I'm making an appearance again. And I just made a reel, and I was just like, you know what, there's so much more to say on this topic than 1 minute and 30 seconds. So I decided it was high time to do another Shakti Temple talk. So here we are. Thank you for being here if you're here. And what I wanted to dive into today is the concept of sadhana. What is sadhana? So sadhana is a concept that shows up in all Indian traditions. It could be the arts, it could be the spiritual traditions, and it is a path towards mastery. Sadhana itself is like a daily discipline that we undertake because of our deeper soul desires. So we know as humans, we have so many desires. I want this, I want that. Many of them are rather frivolous and fleeting. That's okay, that's natural, that's how we are. But then we have these like deeper soul desires, right? Like for example, we might think we want a relationship, so we get the relationship, and then we're still unfulfilled even in the relationship, and we realize that what we were seeking to fulfill with a relationship is actually something so much deeper. Oftentimes we end up on a spiritual path because we're like, is it the divine I'm seeking? Like, what is that completeness that I am seeking through another person and not getting? And how can I actually find that? Like, what is the path to get there? So that's just one example of what a deeper desire would be, right? We think we want the relationship, but really we're looking for a sense of feeling a completion in and of ourselves. And while the concept of that is very simple, the path to get there is often really not. We wouldn't have these very complex spiritual systems if that was an easy thing to do. Just wake up in the morning and be like, I want to feel complete today and not have all my weird stuff. And that would be great. But, you know, we have therapists that go to many years of school to help people with that. We have infinitely complex spiritual traditions to help with that, plant medicines, oh my goodness, and here we still are, right? So we know that's not that easy, but that is a deeper soul desire. Some other examples of that could be like you in love, like myself, you're in love with dance and you want to be a good dancer, not just an ecstatic dancer or something like that. You want to learn how to move with grace in the body. So that deeper desire pulls you onto the path. You take your first dance class, all of a sudden you're like, oh dang, this is way harder than I thought. But instead of giving up and being like, I don't want you, that deeper desire says, no, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna burn in this desire. I'm gonna dedicate myself to this because this is more important to me than watching Netflix. This is more important to me than these other things. So this, I think we're getting a little bit of an idea what is sadhana, right? So sadhana is a daily discipline that aligns us to those deeper soul desires. Oftentimes we find this concept coming up in spiritual traditions where you have like a daily sit, a daily meditation, a daily asana practice. But it can also be in the arts. If you're a painter, you make time every day to paint. If you're a writer, you make time every day to write. If you're a stockbroker, you make time every day to dive into the stock market, whatever it is, right? We don't become good at things just by wishful thinking. We don't become good at things by like dabbling our little feet in. We become good at things when we fully commit ourselves. And oftentimes, you know, this involves sacrifice. This involves some discomfort. This involves challenging our own inner resistance. Almost always, we all have resistance. Some of us, most of us will find resistance at some point every single day of our lives against something, right? Even the things we love most. Like, why do we resist? We just do. But we don't have to take that seriously, right? We learn to flex a muscle that gets us beyond that resistance, right? We learn to override our excuses. We learn to overcome our own tendencies. that want to take the easy way out, or that want to keep our options open, or whatever it is for us, whatever our kind of self-sabotage method might be. And sadhana is a muscle that we learn to flex that says, but this is the most important thing to me. But this is my deeper desire. I'm not going to get lost in, it's like Netflix or practice my art. It's a choice point. Every day we have so many choice points, and it's not easy to make the good choices, right? But we can make hard choices. I love that quote. We can make hard choices for the sake of those deeper desires. Now, what concerns me in our modern era is that so many people want things to be easy nowadays, because we're used to things just snap of our fingers, and what we desire is at our doorstep, literally, right? The thing we want to watch is at our fingertip with the click of a button. We're losing our ability to burn inside of our deeper desires. We expect everything to be like that. And if we long for any level of mastery in this life, which I hope we do, because I don't personally want AI to take over all of our art, all of our thinking, our writing, all of this. AI doesn't have a beating human heart. So if we want to become masterful in these ways, we have to learn to burn a little bit. I am all about the feminine path. I am all about finding the grace and the flow. But we have to also question our minds, our tendencies, our laziness, our, these things that actually prevent us from becoming the flower, blooming as the flowers that we truly want to be in this life. That does not come from sitting in your bathtub and massaging your crystals with rose petals. That can be a nice support to working hard, but we have to work hard to build anything in this life. And what is that saying about idle hands? I can't remember, but if you know it, you know what I'm talking about. Like, we actually want to work here. Work is how the divine manifests through us to some degree. And I'm not talking about overworking. I'm not talking about mindless working. I'm not talking about the kind of work that drains your soul. I'm talking about the kind of work that carves us like clay and turns us into who we are meant to be in this life, right? Whether that's the dancer or the mystic or the painter or the poet, like this, right? And so we learn to find that muscle, to flex that muscle. I have so many people, so many students ask me, how have I created what I created? Well, mostly it came from passion. Passion was the first step. I saw the thing, I fell in love with it, and then I took the steps, whether it was financial investment, travel, time commitment, and my own blood, sweat, and tears to get there. Over and over and over again, and that has not ceased. I continue to come back to that table, to burn in those deeper desires, to overcome my resistances, and yes, admittedly, sometimes give in to them. And gradually, I've learned to flex that muscle more and more, and that's what's allowed me to build what I have in my dance career, and to be a multi-lineage passionate person, to build my business single-handedly without business coaches or that or the other thing, because I have just been dedicated, because my deeper desire has had a vision to birth into the world, and I've been willing to make the sacrifices I needed to make to put that front and center in my life. But it's an illusion to think that this all came easily. It's an illusion to think we can build those deeper desires unless we just are born with immense privilege, in which case sometimes the challenge is that we don't have that deeper work ethic, right? So there's a double-edged sword with great privilege. But when we really learn to work for something, to really learn to build something of value in this world, the riches we get in return of feeling that we are truly living our life, we're truly living our dharma, we're truly living our destiny, is so worth those fleeting moments of discomfort, those fleeting sacrifices of closing other doors so we can fully walk through the door that's the most important to us. So this is the path of sadhana. And if you are a seeker of mastery, if there's something you have fallen in love with and you want to dedicate your soul to that thing, sadhana is the ticket to get there. And yes, there will be days we fall off the path. That's okay. That's part of being human. We don't have to beat ourselves up for that. We can, have compassion. But the next day we get back on the horse. And that's part of the journey with sadhana, is we fall off the horse, we get back on the horse, but the horse is our North Star. We keep getting on the horse, riding towards that vision that we have, riding towards that deeper desire. So I hope this sparked something. I hope this talk sparked something in you and is inspiring you, especially in this day and age of infinite choices, too many choices really, infinite distractions, over the top to-do lists, to just keep going on your path, to keep your North Star and focus on what's the most important to you. All right, we did it. Another Shakti Temple Talk.